I love these guys. These guys have gutted through many challenges, and it is a father-daughter veterinary team. And I want to say you touched upon something, Dr. Peter Weinstein, that when you were graduating and getting into veterinary field, parvo was the big word, right? What was kind of the nasty situation? I think I'm trying to put it in context 30, 40 years ago, and you are an ageless wonder. I'm not aging you, although your daughter could snicker if she wants. But I mean, shelters were called pounds. Animals were referred to as its. I mean, talk about, put us in context 3, 4 decades ago.
Yeah, well, I think where I worked, pets were becoming part of the family. But Arden, okay, you'll remember when we dealt with...
I'm probably older than him. Okay, go ahead.
You'll remember when we dealt with fleas back in the good old days, we had bombs and you had powders. And, I mean, you essentially had to put on a hazmat suit to treat your house and your pets for fleas. We also dealt with a lot of infectious disease, parvo being one from the 70s that we didn't have vaccinations for at that point in time. And so there's a lot of disease that we learned about and we've created prevention for. We've got all sorts of new treatments and therapeutics. It's just been very interesting to watch the progression of information. What I learned in veterinary school and what Brooke has learned in veterinary school are light years different in terms of the diagnostic tools that she has, the therapeutic tools she has access to, even some of the diseases. I was in veterinary school when Potomac fever was entering into the equine world, and we really weren't sure what to do with it. So it's been a real interesting to watch the changes. And there is no way I would get through veterinary school in 2020.
Come on. What do you think, Brooke? You know your dad. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's new things on the horizon. There's new medicines, Apoquel. There's some things for kitty cats that you go once a month instead of having to do it every day. I don't remember. It starts with an S. I know it starts with an S. But, you're learning a lot, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. It is interesting, though. What they teach in vet school is not the everyday GP.
Okay.
So, but they do teach you they teach you about the allergies and they teach you about the preventative medications, which is super interesting that it was not a thing basically when my father was in vet school, because I did my research project on tick prevention in dogs.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I did research on like the prevalence of tick-borne diseases in underserved communities in Oregon. And so basically took history on who was on prevention and who was on preventative cares and wellness clinics. Yeah, it was very interesting. And it was interesting.
So what's your takeaway message now in 2023 on us combating this species that's been on the planet longer than us?
Yeah. Prevention works. It really does. And everybody wants it. They just don't know they want it. It's very much a veterinarian needs to educate their client to understand why their pets need to be on prevention. And once they understand that, then they're fully on board.
Come on in on this one, Dr. Peter, because we can help our pets live a long time if we invest in preventive care. And I'm looking at my furry Brady Bunch, and yes, I know my veterinarian's middle name.
I think Brooke nailed it. I think we have pet owners who want to provide the best care possible for their pets. They don't always know where to go to get the information. And not all veterinarians are very good at taking the time to educate. I really do think that the role of a veterinarian is as a teacher, and our pet owners are students. And how good a teacher you are will determine how well the student does their homework, which is to give a monthly preventative or a collar or an injection, whatever the case may be. But if people aren't aware that there's a product, or if they aren't aware that their pet is at risk, they don't know what they can do. So I do think that Brooke's point about education is spot on. And I think I applaud you, Arden, for what you do in terms of educating consumers, but it's a team of people who work to help educate pet owners about optimal care and the risks in their community, because you're in Texas, you've got heat, you've got heartworm disease. We're in Southern California. We've got heat. We've got less heartworm disease, but we have other conditions. And so I think that what Brooke said about education is spot on.
So as someone growing up in the tech age and having Google and all these other things, how do you wade through all this and find the right source?
Oh gosh, yeah, it is. You definitely have to. It's been years of figuring out how to do that. You kind of, as you have to wade through all the sources and skim through everything, I think I've kind of come to like cross match them. If I see the same thing over again, if I see the same information using the same statistics in two sources, I'm like, okay, that's correct. If I see like a 90% in this and 5% in that, I'm like, okay, that's for another time to figure out. They don't know enough about that.
That was very diplomatic. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. And then again, like know your sources if they are like proven accurate sources, published sources. But honestly, I guess when it comes to veterinary medicine, go to your vet, because you're going to find everything and anything online when it comes to literally anything for your pets. So your veterinarian's office should have pamphlets on things, and they should be up to date. If they're not, then I guess that's a different problem. But
yeah, if the pictures are in black and white, run. You've seen the evolution, Dr. Peter Weinstein. I mean, where are we heading in the next 5 years when it comes to veterinary care?
Well, I think we're heading in a lot of positive directions. I think we have to, just take a step back and look at globally what we want to accomplish, which is the ability to provide a better level of care to all people, no matter their economic status or where they live in the country. Good. And so I think we have to recognize that the ability to provide veterinary care at the human level, which is what we can do now, can be daunting, can be intimidating, and could be expensive. So how do we address the cost of care? How do we address the availability of care in veterinary deserts, such as even downtown Los Angeles, where there are no veterinarians in a close proximity, or in the Central Valley of California or parts of Texas? So I think telehealth and technology are great, but they have limitations. And I think we have to figure out how we can take advantage of technology so that we can speed things along, improve our efficiency, improve our effectiveness, improve our productivity. But the one thing about veterinary medicine you cannot give up in the face of technology is touchology. We are so built on relationships that if technology takes over and we lose that relationship, I think we lose our profession.
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content. Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.